Picture this. You wake up every day, reach for a cup of coffee, and start talking about your life, your dreams, the weather. But the words you use aren't just tools to chat, they're chains. They don't just shape what you say, they decide what you can think. In George Orwell's 1984, this isn't some abstract theory, it's the cold, hard reality. The party rolls out Newspeak, a language so twisted it's less about communication and more about control. It's not a matter of tossing in quirky new slang or fancy terms. No, Newspeak is a surgical strike on thought itself, hacking away at the vocabulary until entire concepts, like rebellion, freedom, or truth, don't just get hard to say. They become impossible to even imagine. Think about what that means. If you strip away the word freedom, you don't just lose a sound, you lose the idea. No way to dream of breaking chains if you can't name them. The party doesn't stop at banning books or silencing voices. It goes deeper, rewiring the human mind by controlling the raw materials of thought. Words like dissent or justice get replaced with bland, obedient placeholders. Good think or crime stop until the language itself becomes a cage. In George Orwell's 1984, a character in the book named Syme gloated about it. Don't you see that the whole aim of Newspeak is to narrow the range of thought? In the end, we shall make thought crime literally impossible, because there will be no words in which to express it. That's the game plan. Shrink the dictionary, shrink the mind. Now let's not kid ourselves. This isn't locked in Orwell's pages. Look at today. Ever notice how certain debates feel rigged from the start? Take a hot-button issue like climate change or social justice. The phrases we're fed, carbon footprint, privilege, systemic this or that, aren't just catchy, they frame the conversation. Try questioning the terms themselves, and you're not just off-topic, you're off-limits. The words aren't neutral, they're loaded, nudging you into a pre-approved lane of thought. It's not Newspeak with a capital N, but it's a cousin, language sculpted to steer us, not liberate us. And when you can't find the words to push back, you're halfway to docile already. But Orwell doesn't stop at vocabulary. He doubles down with doublethink, a mental trick so warped it's almost genius. Imagine believing two opposite things at once. Say that war is peace or ignorance is strength, and not even flinching. In 1984, the party drills this into people until contradictions aren't flaws, they're features. 2 + 2 = 5, if Big Brother says so, and you don't argue, you believe. It's not about lying to others, it's about lying to yourself so well that the lie becomes your truth. The party's poster boy, Winston, wrestles with it. To know and not to know, to be conscious of complete truthfulness while telling carefully constructed lies, that was the ultimate subtlety of doublethink. This isn't some sci-fi gimmick, it's a psychological sledgehammer. People in 1984 don't just nod along to nonsense, they embrace it, because questioning it would mean cracking their own reality. And don't we see shadows of that now? Politicians promise jobs while gutting industries, claim transparency while hiding deals, and we shrug. Media flips narratives overnight. One day a hero's a villain, the next he's a saint. And we roll with it. A company can preach sustainability while churning out waste, and we buy the greenwashed hype. It's not that we're blind, it's that we've been conditioned to let the contradictions slide. Doublethink keeps the system humming. No one digs into the cracks because the cracks feel normal. Language and mental twists are the setup, but fear's the glue that holds it together. In 1984, the world's a pressure cooker of dread. War's always raging somewhere, betrayals around every corner, and then there's Goldstein, this phantom enemy the party trots out like a horror movie monster. He's not real, not in any provable way, but that's the point. Goldstein's the eternal other, the shadow that justifies every camera, every curfew, every crackdown. The party doesn't persuade with logic, it terrifies with threats. Fear's the ultimate weapon. When you're scared, you don't think straight. You don't debate rights or reason out trade-offs. You just beg for safety, even if it means handing over your soul. Orwell nails how fear rewires us. People in 1984 don't march for freedom. They huddle, grateful for the party's protection. It's primal, scare someone enough, and they'll trade anything for a shield. Look at our world. Post 9/11, we got the Patriot Act. Privacy shredded for security. Pandemics hit, and suddenly tracking apps and lockdowns feel like favors, not overreach. Economic crashes loom, and we cheer bailouts that bind us tighter to the system. Each crisis is a card played, amplify the threat, and we'll line up to surrender. Fear doesn't just quiet dissent, it makes us accomplices, too afraid to ask who's really winning. And what about the past? In 1984, history isn't a record, it's a toy. The Ministry of Truth doesn't archive, it edits. Newspapers, photos, whole wars get rewritten to fit the party's latest story. One day, Oceania's fighting Eastasia. The next, it's always been Eurasia, and the old truth evaporates. Winston's job is to scrub the evidence, burn a document, tweak a headline, and poof, reality shifts. The party's motto cuts to the bone. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. If they own yesterday, they own you tomorrow. People don't just accept the new version, they forget the old one ever existed, memory itself bending to the party's will. That's not fiction's exclusive domain. Dictators have torched archives, spun victories out of defeats. But today it's slicker. Digital history's a sandbox. Tweets vanish, articles get updated, search results tilt to whoever's paying. Remember when a politician's gaffe would stick? Now it's buried under a flood of noise, or scrubbed if the platform decides it's misinformation. Cancel culture's another angle. Someone's whole legacy can get erased, not for lies, but for clashing with today's vibe. The internet's meant to immortalize truth, but it's just as good at rewriting it. Lose the past, and you lose your bearings. Every new narrative's as real as the last. Surveillance is the thread that stitches it all up. Big Brother's watching, cameras in alleys, mics in walls, eyes that never blink. In 1984, it's not about catching you slipping, it's about making you feel the stare. Winston scribbles in a diary, heart pounding, knowing any word could doom him. The party doesn't need proof, just the threat's enough to keep you in line. You don't speak out, don't think rogue thoughts, because privacy's a ghost. It's psychological warfare. Live under a spotlight, and you'll dim yourself to fit. Today we've got our own Big Brother, less obvious but just as clingy. Your phone's a snitch. Every swipe, every search, tracked. Social media's a goldmine for data brokers. Post a rant, and it's filed forever. Facial recognition popping up in airports, stores, streets, sold as safety. But it's a net tightening. We're not dodging telescreens, but we're feeding algorithms that predict our next move. And the kicker, we sign up for it. Click agree for convenience, trade secrets for a deal. Like in 1984, the real trick isn't the watching. It's how we start policing ourselves, tweaking our words, our lives, to dodge the invisible judge. Then there's the final blow. Individuality's death. In 1984, thinking different isn't quirky. It's crimethink, a capital offense. The party doesn't want obedience, it wants sameness. Kids parrot slogans before they can spell. Dissenters get broken by torture till their minds snap into line. Winston's crushed not for acting out, but for daring to feel unique. The party knows. Let one person dream alone, and the whole house of cards wobbles. So they erase the self, every quirk, every spark, until you're a drone in their hive. We're not there, not fully, but the drift's real. Social media's a conformity factory. Step off the script, and you're swarmed with hate or muted by the algorithm. Groupthink's the norm. Pick a side, chant the line, or you're out. Cancel culture's the enforcer. Say the wrong thing, and you're not just wrong, you're erased. It's not torture chambers, it's shame and silence. But the goal's the same. Sand down the edges till we all fit the mold. We're told it's unity, but it's a leash. Stop questioning, stop standing out, and the system purrs along. Orwell's 1984 isn't a dusty classic, it's a manual, and we're living the remix. Language boxes our thoughts, fear locks our wills, history's a rewrite away. Surveillance shrinks our space, and individuality is fading fast. It's not a dictator in a cape, it's a slow creep. Phones, headlines, likes, laws. The cage isn't iron, it's us, bending to fit. So what's the move? Question the words you're fed. The fears you're sold, the past you're handed. Peek behind the curtain, see the strings. Freedom's not gone, but it's slipping. Stay sharp, stay you, keep pushing, while there's still room to fight. 1984 warned us about the dangers of a society controlled by fear, but it also warned us about the dangers of a society controlled by language. The government in Orwell's world didn't need to use violence to maintain control. Fear was a far more powerful tool. By constantly reminding the population of the threat of danger, they created an environment in which people were willing to give up their freedoms in exchange for the illusion of safety. This isn't just a tactic used by oppressive regimes, it's something that has infiltrated our everyday lives. We see it in the constant framing of issues around fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the other, fear of change. And when fear dominates, people become more willing to accept limitations on their freedoms. They may not realize it, but in the process, they are trading their autonomy for a false sense of security. The chilling truth is that, in many ways, we are already living in a world shaped by Orwell's vision. We may not have an authoritarian regime monitoring our every move, but the mechanisms of control are still in place, operating through the very words we use. Whether we recognize it or not, we are being shaped by language in ways that limit our freedom of thought and expression. And as Orwell demonstrated, once we lose control of our language, we lose control of our very understanding of reality. So the question is, are we truly free to think as we choose, or have we become prisoners of our own words?